Hey everyone, and welcome to a review for Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. This is a biography written and it is also narrated by Tom Felton. Now there is a introduction. I believe it's what it's called. I think in fiction it's preface. Let me double check. Oh, it's a foreword. Excuse me. The foreword. There is a foreword in this book written by Emma Watson. I would have liked the audiobook, the foreword, to have been read by Emma Watson since she wrote it, but Tom Felton narrated his own book and he read everything. So he did a good job. I think he has a really good voice. So it's a biography about Tom Felton. Beyond the Wand, I think it's labeled that way because he is most well known for playing Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter series. There are other things that he was in. For example, I did not know that he was in the Borrowers movie with John Goodman. I do know that he was in Anna and the King. I have seen that, but I've seen the Borrowers movie, but I didn't recognize that was him playing one of the little boys. So it just talks about that. It's just talks about him, you know, starting to act in stuff when he was little, and his mom taking him to auditions and telling him when he got it, and all about the chaperone process, when he got to be a chaperone, how he sometimes was maybe not the best influence on the younger kids for the crew that was there, or the cast that was there. Like, I think, blanking on his name, but he played Ron. Rupert Grint. If I remember right, he gave his headphones to Rupert, and it was like some rap with some swearing in it. And Rupert was like shocked. So not always the best influence on little kids, but yeah. So he has 3 older brothers. Tom Felton was born in 1987. He has 3 older brothers, and he says part of that with the 3 older brothers is it helped him stay down to earth. He talks about how sometimes he would be recognized, or he would go someplace and think he was going to be recognized and wasn't. But he did compare the fact that because he wasn't as big of a star in the Harry Potter movies as like Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, and Rupert Grint, how it would have been harder for them because they were the main characters. So the recognition and how to act and things like that would have been harder for them. It was plenty difficult for him, but it would have been harder for them because of their status within the movie. And he also talks about this one time that he got in some legal trouble. And I don't want to say anything more than that because I do want you to read this, and then things like that. So let's talk about where it's a biography. It's hard to go into a biography other than it's the life of Tom Felton. Are there some areas that could have gone deeper? Well, yeah, any biography can, but you also don't want to be a 1,000-page biography. So I thought it was very well done. I thought it was well written. I enjoyed it. I liked the pictures that are in this particular book. There were pictures of him and his mom, of Tom Felton and his family, and things like that. So what are some things? There are some things I have highlighted. One is an important and effective skill is the ability to communicate with people from all walks of life. And let's see, what else? Some problems are too difficult to outrun. They always catch up with you in the end. There is no light without shade. So there's some good things in here. He does go on to how some of the adult actors while he was a child had some great influence. For example, the guy that played Dumbledore, not the one in the first 2 movies, but the later on, talked about how kind of an influence he had on them. He would go and smoke a cigarette with them. How Alan Rickman had, all these different big personalities, and as a kid you don't know that these guys are big personalities, and you don't realize it until you look back later on in your life, and you can realize what a big influence you had. And some of the things that he's drawn from that is he wishes that he hopes and wishes, hopes is the best word, that he will have had this, like, a positive influence on people. He talks about how there's different fans. He felt like he and his mother thought there was this one that was stalking him. And it turned out, I guess it was this really lonely lady who had no kids, and like she showed up everywhere that he was, and so they were very nervous around her. There's people that can't separate reality from fantasy, and so when people would see him on the street, some people would ridicule him because he's playing the bully in the movie, and people would think that he is a bully when in reality he is not. So, you know, things like that. He was able to look back and see that and have these big realizations that I think sometimes it forces you to kind of become more adult-esque when you're a child. Now, this is someone that's never been in acting, but to me, the situation makes sense because you're thrust into certain situations as a child and have to think on your feet and deal with certain situations that you probably wouldn't deal with until you're in your teens or older. As a child actor, he's got to deal with those. Okay, so a couple things that come up. You have underage drug use. I did look it up. In the United Kingdom, under the age of 18, it's illegal to buy cigarettes and stuff for anyone under the age of 18. It's illegal for them to buy it, and it's illegal for people to buy it for them. So you have underage drug use. I think one of the drugs that was talked about is actually weed or like marijuana, but cigarettes comes up a lot. You have drinking, and I think some of that was underage as well. So something to be aware of as well. You have a couple other things to be aware of. You have talk about mental health. Tom Felton talks about how he has a family member who was in and out of a hospital, of a mental hospital, and then he talks about how he went to rehab, how there was this intervention because of his drug use and his alcoholism, and so he had to go to rehab, which I did not know that, but yeah. So he talks about that. So if that's bothering, obviously be aware. So the intervention, the rehab, alcoholism, mental health with hospitalization, and underage drug use and alcohol use. So those are some of the things to go into this. A couple of words that come up, and I can't think of anything else to say because, again, it's a biography. I found it more interesting because I know of him from the movies that I mentioned, again, the Harry Potter series and Anna and the King, and he's been in more stuff. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So yeah, not much to tell. So, okay. A couple of words that come up. Bloody comes up, and not as like your face is bloody because you've been beat up. Bloody is in that's generally, as I understand it, is similar to the F-bomb here in America. So, but in England they say bloody, is my understanding. Arse, A-R-S-E is used, which I believe is ass. So that comes up 4 times, bloody once. Hell comes up 12 times. Bullshit comes up twice. Bastard twice. Dick comes up 8 times. The word God comes up 5 times, some of which is in a religious sense. I don't remember if all of it is, but some of it is, as far as like being mad at God for the trials that you're in and the trouble that you're struggling with. So something like that. Let's see, what else? So I said those ones. Oh, and the only other word that really came up that some people will want to know before going into this is that the word fuck comes up. Let's see, 5, 10, 15, 19 times. So not too bad. I'm not very well versed in biographies, so I don't know how normal and standard that is, but to me it makes sense, you know. So he does talk a lot about how, I do like how he talked a lot about how his brothers influenced his life. And, you know, again, kept him grounded and down to earth. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I gave this 5 stars. I do recommend this, especially if you've seen any of the movies that he is in. So, yeah, I don't know. I recommend it. Let me know if you've read this, and if you have, what your thoughts on it are. Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.